America's homelessness crisis continues to be an utter catastrophe. Once vibrant cities across the nation have turned into open-air drug wastelands, and the situation only seems to get worse. The time for change has never been more urgent, and former President Donald Trump has a simple solution.
When I'm back in the White House, we will use every tool, lever, and authority to get the homeless off our streets. And for those who are severely mentally ill and deeply disturbed, we will bring them back to mental institutions where they belong, with the goal of reintegrating them back into society once they are well enough to manage.
Trump's plan to bring back mental institutions might not be that radical. Boston is planning for a 35-acre island facility to combat homelessness, addiction, and mental health. Greg.
Yes.
Are they stealing the island idea?
Yes. But the sad thing is, if they do this, how will MSNBC survive? They're going to lose all their anchors and almost all their viewers. We live in an era, sadly, where the best thing you could do for the mentally ill is seen as a violation of their rights. What you're talking about is trying to treat people who can't fend for themselves. But for some reason, that has been turned into an aggrieved group that deserves protection from something that will save their life. It's actually a subversion of human compassion. In order to protect them, let them suffer and die, because you need to preserve them as a marginalized group. Of course, institutionalization makes sense. It exists. It was there before. The opposite of institutionalization is leaving them in cities full of things no mentally ill person could handle. The relentless stimulus of even for a sane person is nuts. The stressful conditions, the loud noises, the crowds. These are things that are torture worthy of a black ops site for somebody who is homeless and mentally ill. This is why sanitariums were often in the rural countryside. You need to remove the vulnerable from the things that torture them. But then again, that's a violation of their rights. You can't take them out and do that. But therefore, the left has no solution, because you have to let the mentally ill person make the decision for themselves, and they can't do that. So they're left festering and dying on the streets. And now that Trump speaks the truth, the left is going to have to galvanize against it like they did with the wall, because no matter if it's right, if it comes from Trump, it has to be wrong, because you can't side with them, even though you're seeing yourself the destruction of humanity before your eyes. There's a lot of liberals in New York City. They walk by these people. They walk by them every day, and they know these people need help, but they can't. They would much rather be against Trump than stretch out their hand and get that person into a hospital.
And why don't we take all the money we're spending on migrants, Dana, and then build beautiful mental institutions for our people?
Hey, I mean, listen, I love that President Trump is talking about it. His campaign videos are pretty interesting. If you can go back and look at the ideas that he has on policies, people think that he has grievances about the past. He has those, yes, but he also has been doing a lot of these policy videos.
We also have grievances about the homeless problem.
I have grievances. I am so tired of walking by them. I mean, and thank goodness, this is a weird thing to say, but with the drugs of choice today, these people are like sedated on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Imagine if they were violent.
Yeah, well, the crack
you couldn't
epidemic.
You couldn't walk by them.
Yeah.
And then this idea would be something that like Kamala Harris would come up with, and people would think it was great. I think that President Biden is late to this. One of the things I love to do is, if I'm out and about, getting a chance to ask people that live other places, what's the biggest problem in your community that you're trying to solve? And I have been shocked that in the smallest towns in America, in Colorado, homelessness is their problem. So this is not just a liberal city problem. This is happening all across America, and someone has to get a handle on it. A huge problem that President Trump would have if he tried this, one would be all the legal issues, et cetera. But there's not enough skilled staff, and there's not enough people wanting to go into that field. There's not enough money to pay them, to pay them like a salary in which you would say, I really want to do this kind of work. It's very, very difficult, but it would be the compassionate thing to do. If we can just get past all of that, we have to have some solutions, because it was just like a never-ending circling of the drain here.
Right, because it's easier to just give them prescription drugs that zone them out than to actually care for them and help them 24/7. Now that you know that Trump's for insane asylums, are you against it?
So this idea is something that's actually popular in a lot of liberal policy circles, not necessarily insane asylums, because we do know that these huge, large-scale psychiatric facilities were shut down in the mid-1900s because of inhumane treatment, right? That people were essentially just being put in padded rooms and we're getting things like lobotomies and not actually being cured of what they have. So if you can find a solution where you have good staff and you have doctors that are going to help people and not just keep them in a proverbial cage, there are a lot of people that are for that. There's also a difference between creating a community, which is what the Boston plan is, and just putting up these mental facilities. And I think that you could find really good common ground then between Trump's plan, which, by the way, he also had going into COVID. This is something from his administration, but then we were overtaken by the virus and they didn't get to move forward with it. But if you have it as a place where people can go and they can become employed, they can have affordable housing, and they can have a chance to get the kind of mental health treatment that they need, I think you can make progress. A big step towards that, though, there are caps on how much Medicaid funding that these facilities can get. It's been a big push, especially from the left, to get those caps either raised or just eliminated altogether so that you can increase the size and the number of people you can treat.
I would be for that, but are you saying involuntary? I'm pro-involuntary.
Well, I get that.
Yes. You don't have to say
some
yes.
people, no, I know that. On the show, I don't feel much pressure to say what the rest of you are saying. No, I think that when you look at a case.
You should, Jessica. You really should.
Well, I don't, which is how I keep my job. Like Jordan Neely, right, is the perfect example where I think everyone would agree that that was a good candidate for involuntary commitment. Yeah. The point is that there have to be a multitude of options. There are some people who are dangerous and violent, and there are other people who you could talk to who would go voluntarily.
Yeah, but they never do.
I don't know if they have the options.
I understand this is a new federal program, which is different than the cities, right? But I actually don't trust that this would be carried out in a way that actually respected people's civil rights, given what we've seen with the Department of Justice and how they define what they think is a mental illness and that kind of thing. They do this with the Second Amendment, with red flag laws. I think there's a lot of things there. The issue with the homelessness problem and why it's gotten worse and not better with the influx of Medicaid money and the influx of money from states like California to the tune of billions and billions of dollars is government corruption. They have an incentive when they're in charge to keep people homeless because they get paid. We have a friend who worked in a DC homeless shelter as an employee, and he was making less money than people were getting by living on the street because of all the benefits that they were receiving. We have made it easy in this country to live on the street. If you want to make it so people make decisions about getting off the streets, getting clean, you have to put them in jail, consequences for actions, and you have to take away their ability to be incentivized to benefit. And, of course, you have to take away all these incentives and structures that the governments, local and federal, have put in place to make this problem continue rather than go away. Solving this problem doesn't help anybody who's benefiting from it.
All right, good conversation, everybody. Really thoughtful.
I disagree.
Really happy this
Even
week.
I love the idea in concept. I just don't trust it in practice.
All right, well, I'll strike a nice balance. My administration will handle it.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.